For all of us who've been tempted to backtrack on God, today's daily strength is just what you need. Let's dip into the lives of Abraham and Sarah. They'll help us with this. Our text today is Hebrews 11:16, which tells us that Abraham and Sarah were looking for a better country, a heavenly one. I wonder if you have ever felt the pull of past comforts. Wishing things could go back to the way they used to be. Well, you can imagine how Abraham felt. Having once lived in the Ur of the Chaldeans, which was a highly sophisticated culture in ancient times, Abraham responded to the call of God to move to Canaan. It was a journey which, quite frankly, had its fair share of rough moments, like the time when there was a great famine, or when Pharaoh took Abe's wife Sarah into his palace, or the years that Sarah spent as a barren woman, when God had promised to make Abraham's offspring as countless as the stars, or déjà vu, the time when the king of Gerar took Sarah into his harem, and then the ultimate test, when God asked Abraham to sacrifice his long-awaited son Isaac. I can almost picture it, Sarah sitting in her tent sulking, telling Abraham, "Remember back in Ur when I used to meet with all my friends for tea at 3 o'clock on Friday? Abraham, I really missed that. What on earth are we doing out here?" Or imagine if Abraham had said, "I know, I miss tennis with my buddies. Hey, come on, Sarah, let's go back." What if he had caved in to the pull of past comforts and had decided to go back where life was more familiar and more rewarding? Although God had made some amazing promises to Abraham and Sarah, I can't help but wonder that if in the dark moments they struggled with their decision to follow God. On our journey of faith, you can count on it. The road will be littered with challenges, and the temptation will be to look back and say, I wish my life could go back the way it used to be. When someone offends you, maybe you say to yourself, I remember when I could not only get mad, I could get even. Or when you're alone at the computer, you think about the rush of adrenaline you used to feel when you looked at those forbidden sites. It's easy to think of how rewarding it would feel to spend all our money on ourselves like we used to. The list of things in your past life that beckon you back is long. But remember who is behind the urge to put your life in reverse. Satan delights to lure us back into the sludge of life the way it used to be, the toxic dump of what ultimately leads to regret and guilt and brokenness. So while life indeed may seem challenging as you go forward with God, we need to remind ourselves that in spite of the challenges, God is taking us to a better place. The writer of Hebrews sheds some light on this when speaking of Abraham and Sarah. He tells us that they admitted that they were aliens and strangers on earth. And, the writer tells us, if they had been thinking of the country they had left, they would have had an opportunity to return. But instead, they were looking, the text says, for a better country, a heavenly one. And I love this. It concludes by saying, therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. So remember who you are. You're an alien. You're a stranger. You're on a journey, and you don't belong here in the first place. And remember where you're headed, to a better place. So don't let the potholes damage your resolve.